If I woke up tomorrow in 2026 with no savings, no investments, and no financial safety net, I wouldn't panic. But I also wouldn't tell myself everything will work out. Because the uncomfortable truth is this: most people who struggle financially aren't lazy, irresponsible, or bad with money. They're doing exactly what the system quietly trained them to do. And that's where I would start differently. Let's imagine a very normal situation. You're in your mid-20s or early 30. Issy, you live in the US, the UK, Germany, or somewhere similar. You did what you were supposed to do. You studied. You got a job. You earn, let's say, $4,500 a month before tax. After taxes, healthcare, Social Security, or national insurance, you're left with about $3,200. That already feels smaller than expected. Now, life starts subtracting. Rent or mortgage, $1,300 car payment or public transport plus insurance, $450 groceries and basic living $500, student loan or education, EMI, $300, phone, internet, subscriptions, $150 before you've lived, before you've enjoyed anything. You're down to roughly $500. And that's on a good month. But life doesn't stop there. You don't want to feel left behind. Your friends travel. Your coworkers upgrade their cars. Social media quietly reminds you that everyone else seems to be doing better. So you swipe the credit card. You finance the phone. You say yes to things you can technically afford monthly, but not realistically afford long-term. Nothing dramatic, nothing reckless, just normal decisions. And that's the problem. If I had to start from zero in 2026, the first thing I'd understand is this: the system doesn't break people through big mistakes. It breaks them through small, normalized ones. The biggest hidden mistake isn't spending too much. It's building a lifestyle before building stability. We're taught to ask, can I afford the monthly payment? Instead of asking, what does this cost me over the next 5 to 10 years? That single framing error quietly decides your financial future. Simple dollar-based math. Let's take a simple example. A car that costs $450 per month. Sounds manageable. But over 5 years, that's $27,000, not including insurance, repairs, or interest. Now, imagine you delay the decision for just 3 years and drive something boring but paid off. That's $16,200. You didn't lock into depreciation. That money doesn't make you rich, but it buys something more important early on. Time. Flexibility. Breathing room. Most people never calculate this because monthly numbers feel safe. Total numbers feel scary. This isn't about intelligence. It's about psychology. The human brain is wired to prioritize identity over outcome. We don't buy things for utility. We buy them to confirm that we're doing okay. A nicer car says, I'm successful. A better apartment says, I've made progress. A financed lifestyle says, I belong. The cost is invisible at first. The stress comes later. That delay is why the trap works. Ignore this long enough, and something subtle happens. You don't feel broke. You feel stuck. Raises disappear into higher bills. Job changes feel risky instead of exciting. Savings never seem to grow, no matter how hard you try. By your mid-30s or early 40s, the problem isn't income. It's that every dollar already has an assignment. At that point, starting over feels terrifying, which is why most people never do. If I were starting from zero in 2026, I'd think differently. Not smarter, just calmer. I wouldn't try to look successful. I'd try to be unrestricted. Financially intelligent people don't obsess over returns early on. They obsess over They ask quiet questions like, if I lost this job, how long could I survive? Does this expense reduce or increase my future choices? Is this solving a real problem or a social one? They delay lifestyle upgrades, not because they can't afford them, but because freedom compounds faster than status. This isn't about extreme frugality. It's about sequencing. Stability first. Flexibility second. Comfort. Comfort last. When you reverse that order, stress becomes permanent. When you respect it, progress feels boring. And that's a good sign. Because boring finances usually mean calm finances. If I had to start from zero in 2026, I wouldn't chase speed. I wouldn't chase motivation. I wouldn't chase what everyone else is doing. I'd build a life that costs less than my peace of mind. Not because I'm afraid of the future, but because I want options when it arrives. That's not pessimism. That's clarity. If this way of thinking made you pause or see your situation a little differently, consider subscribing for more calm, reality-based conversations about money. Nothing flashy, just clarity. Before we end, I want to slow this down for a moment, because conversations about money usually rush toward action. Do this. Avoid that. Start now. But if you're restarting from zero, or even close to it, speed is rarely the real problem. Clarity. Ease. Most people don't fail financially because they made one terrible decision. They fail because they kept repeating reasonable decisions without ever questioning the direction. The job seemed stable. The payment felt affordable. The lifestyle looked normal. And slowly, without a dramatic moment, freedom was traded for comfort. What I'd remind myself, starting from zero in 2026, is that money is not just numbers on a screen. It's stored time. It's stored choices. Every fixed expense is a decision you've made in advance about your future self. And that future version of you doesn't get to renegotiate various. This is why financially intelligent people sound boring when they talk about money. They don't chase excitement. They don't romanticize struggle. They don't confuse consumption with progress. They build margin. Margin to think clearly. Margin to say no. Margin to walk away from situations that don't serve them. That margin doesn't come from earning more alone. It comes from not rushing to turn income into obligations. If you're listening to this and thinking, I wish I had known this earlier, that's normal. Everyone thinks that. But awareness doesn't belong to a specific age. It belongs to a specific moment. The moment you stop running on autopilot. Starting from zero doesn't mean starting from nothing. It means starting without illusions, and that's actually an advantage. You see the trade-offs more clearly. You feel the pressure more honestly. You're less likely to confuse appearances with outcomes. That's not a weakness. That's a foundation. You don't need extreme discipline. You don't need constant motivation. You don't need to win fast. You need decisions that reduce stress instead of postponing it. If there's one quiet takeaway from this entire video, it's this. A financially calm life is built long before it looks impressive, and most people never notice because calm doesn't post well online. if this perspective helped you think a little more clearly about your own situation. You can support the channel by liking the video or subscribing. Not for urgency, not for hype, just to keep these conversations going.